across the city.
And South Cambridgeshire.
The Cambridge Folk Festival.
Cambridge 105 Radio.
Hello again and welcome back to the backstage area at the Cambridge Folk Festival at Cherry Hinton Hall. We'll be looking back on some of the interviews, some of the people we've spoken to during the course of the day's broadcasts from Cambridge 105 Radio. Alex Elbrow is alongside me. And Alex, it's been an absolutely fabulous day.
It has. It's been like a whirlwind of wonderful guests. And so many that, you almost lost track of who was coming on. It was thick and fast.
I've got a list of 9 of them, which we'll be getting through over the next half hour or so. And we're going to start with Katie Spencer.
In Folk Club and doing a live set, that would have been autumn 2021, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that's right. I think it was October or November. Yeah, it was lovely.
That's right. That was the first time I'd ventured out to a gig after lockdown.
Of course, yeah.
So it was, for me, it was exhilarating and even slightly scary. It's not really usual to go to a gig and feel slightly afraid, but it's all quite new to us at that time, wasn't it? 'Cause
yeah, for sure.
You'd just restarted performing again then, I guess, had you?
Yeah, I was just kind of adding the finishing touches to this album and planning for that, and it was really nice to get back out and just play some gigs and feel connected to people again. It was wonderful.
Absolutely. And meeting up with old friends that you hadn't seen for a couple of years.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I'm really enjoying just now as well at festivals, and it's kind of another layer yet again of kind of connection, which is nice.
Absolutely true. Yeah. And you've been very busy, haven't you, I think, kind of following you on Twitter and so on. You've been touring the album quite a lot.
Yeah, that's right. I've basically been out since May, so I've been kind of on the road for most of the time in between the 6th of May and now. So yeah,
right.
it's wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. And more festivals lined up for later in the summer?
Yeah, I've got a few. I've got the Magpies Festival up in Yorkshire.
Right.
I'm playing at Moseley Folk Festival in near Birmingham. So, yeah, lots of things happening. It's really nice.
Oh, yeah, the Magpies Festival, is that a new festival?
It is. It's the second year. I was supposed to play it last year, and I got the dreaded COVID.
Oh, dear.
So it'd be nice to get there this time.
Good to have got it over with anyway.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because I know the Magpies a little bit. They've played, done sessions on the show and things on Strummers and Dreamers. And yeah, great that they're organising a festival, and great that you're playing at it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And as regards Cambridge Folk Festival, you played for us, didn't you? Played for the Bridge in 2019 or 2018?
2018. Yeah, that was really, really nice.
Yeah.
I just released my first kind of studio mini album, and it was nice to get into some festivals and share that music. Yeah, it's
brilliant. Have you been back since then? Between then?
Katie Spencer speaking to Les Ray a little earlier on this afternoon, and Katie talking about different festivals, the length and breadth of the land. There's just so many of them these days.
Yeah, many people have seemed to have spoken to us. They're off to Sidmouth Folk Festival, and there's the Under Stars Festival tonight, which is Kate Rusby's festival. So yeah, there's loads to choose on. Luckily, a lot of them have chosen the Cambridge Folk Festival.
Yeah, we're very pleased they have as well. Amongst some of the others who have chosen the Cambridge Folk Festival this year are the Young'uns. Now let's have a listen to what they had to say to us.
Track there. Well, Alex, are you going to chat to our friends that have arrived here?
I am. I'm very pleased. Years since I appear, according to the notes, to your local folk club and got together and, did it?
You heard these strange sounds, and we went singing songs without anyone had ever told us about it before, and ever since then we wanted to do nothing else but soak in those songs and sing them, and becoming a career or public or anything. It was just very much what we love to do.
So do you write any of your own songs, or do you take more traditional and bring it into kind of modern?
Yeah, it's sort of like gradually as they got more confident to write many traditional themes, I suppose, or writing about local history, but that's broadened out about contemporary events and things as well, and championing causes, but writing them in and I suppose what you could call a traditional style, because we sing a lot of them 3-part harmony unaccompanied.
Brilliant. And
You noticed, Alex, the Hitchcock appearance by Sue Marchant
Yes.
in that, just holding the parasol in front of the guys. We really had sort of bright sunshine in the early afternoon when that particular of how many different folk art.
yeah, we were just counting them up, and they are good friends with the Unthanked, who have played here many, many times. And I believe that Megson come from near there, which are now we've adopted as Cambridge, but they do come from very close to there, I think.
Yeah, we kind of think of Megson as being a Cambridge band, don't we, really? Right, here's a challenge for us then.
Yes.
Do you want to have a go at this one?
Yes, so the next person is Kevin, I'm going to say. Cynefin. I've been told it's Cynefin. I'm very sorry to all Welsh speakers. And they played a lovely set for us earlier. And you guessed, don't we?
We do. We have Owain Shires that's joined us.
Hello.
Hello. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm warming up.
You are. Now you play as Cynefin. Am I pronouncing that properly?
You're pronouncing it perfectly. Yes.
Excellent. That's what I like to. Is that Welsh?
Yeah. So Cynefin, it doesn't really have a translation into English, but it sort of means habitat. But it's a term that comes from farming. You know, the trails that animals make in the fields, kind of habitual trails. It comes from that. So it's a place that's familiar to you, or a place that you go often. That's as simple as I sort of explain it in 2 seconds. But yeah, that's the meaning of it.
Okay. And you say that it's a musical mapping project. What does that actually mean?
Well, the whole project came from a scholarship I got researching music from where I grew up, which is the Cletchwell Valley in southern Ceredigion in West Wales. And the concept of the thing was basically putting geographical limits around my research and just going as deep as I could and seeing what I found. So Tom Waits has got this fantastic quote. He said, "Every song needs an address." And so I was kind of going on that sort of tact, really, just trying to figure out, you know, where did these songs come from and what were the origins of them. And eventually I had enough songs that I could put on a map. So I got an artist to make a musical map for me. So a bit like the Songlines idea, but, you know, from specific villages.
That is really, really interesting, actually. I really like that idea. Yeah.
So are all your songs traditional songs then that you found and then redone, or are they? Yeah.
So they're my own arrangements of traditional tunes that I came across in my research. Yeah.
In those certain areas.
Yeah. So mostly we're talking about the southern part of Ceredigion. I don't know if you know where Ceredigion is. It's the bit, if you went sort of west from Birmingham until you hit the sea, it's that long county that spans the western coast of Wales there. Yeah. So that's Ceredigion. And then I grew up in the southern part, in an area called Ysmotyn D, which means the black spot. We can go into that if you've got time, but maybe I'll explain that later. But yeah.
Did you find any interesting?
Now, how did he say it again? Cynefin?
Cynefin.
I think it's one of these, like, said quickly, and then you won't know if you get it wrong. Now, yesterday, round about this time, the sun was gradually coming round and poking from behind this sort of Cambridge 105 radio banner that we have backstage here. Today the threat seems to come from flying ants.
Yeah, it seems to be like a flying ants day. They're suddenly all landing on us and all over all our equipment. Yeah, hopefully they'll have gone by tomorrow.
Well, I hope so. Some of it seems to be attacking me at the moment. Our other thing, which is a rather nice problem to have, is the music coming from the stage next door, stage 1. If you remember, it's not open on day number 1. It gets into action very much on day 2, on the Friday. Right, more sort of traditional folk artists for you now, and let's have a listen to Kelly and Woolley.
That's wonderful. Now, where are you both based?
So I'm based in Bury,
and I'm 200 yards down the road.
So how did you come across Cajun music then?
Well, a bus driver from Camberwell Bus Garage in South London came up to me in the street and said, "Would you like to join our Cajun band?" in about 1985, I think it was, just after I'd moved back to London. Actually, a mate of his had seen me play fiddle in in a rather bizarre post-punk band in Brighton in the early
Excellent.
80s. So I said yes, of course I said yes, but then I had to go away and learn some Cajun tunes. So the great thing about it is it's very simple chord structures, but it learnt me how to double stop. I started learning how to play and sing at the same time, which is the hardest thing on the planet, really. So, and then after 3 years of working together, Gary and I accidentally discovered we both played. And so then we did our first gig at Ely Folk Festival in about 12 years ago. So,
Yeah.
So, can you actually speak Cajun?
well, I speak a sort of Suffolk dialect of Cajun French.
We wouldn't know, would we?
I'm a bit worried because one of the people who's definitely here tonight is Jenny who teaches languages at Long Road, and she was highly suspicious of my French dialect. I said, "You do realise it's in dialect, don't you?" So it's like, but yeah, I mean I've got good French, but I don't really sing with a Louisiana accent because they sing sharsh instead of shersh and that kind of stuff. So it's a very different kind of set of sounds really to what I'm accustomed to.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering if you went to...
Kelly and Wooly speaking to us a little earlier on. The music, by the way, I don't know if you can hear in the background, comes from the Dust Bowl Revival, and hopefully we'll be able to chat with them on Cambridge 105 Radio during the course of Saturday. I think they're hanging around, which
Excellent.
it's kind of unusual. A lot of the artists seem to be sort of flying in and flying out this year because of the aforementioned number of folk festivals that are around, and I guess sort of a slight hangover really from COVID of packing a few ones in.
That's right, and we were very pleased earlier today. We got to see Natty Dredd. Now, she is quite new to the scene because she really came around in lockdown when she got onto TikTok, started playing her music, and it went wild. And so apparently this is our first radio interview. Lovely. Now, I'm really happy that our guest here has made it all the way down on the train from Scotland today, which, you know, given the circumstances of the travel at the moment, that's a feat in itself. Welcome to you, Natty. It's Natty Dredd.
Thank you for having me. It wasn't too bad of a journey. There was no heat wave this time. Last time there was a heat wave and it was unpleasant given I'm Scottish and with my hair colour I didn't fare well, but it's lovely to be here.
Well, it's wonderful to see you. Now, Natty, your story is a very interesting one, isn't it? And I don't mean that in a mean way. I mean that it is literally a very interesting story. Now, so did you start playing during lockdown, or were you playing before, or how did it all come about that you started using social media?
So I'd always been playing before. I've been singing since before I could remember and playing guitar since I was about 11. And I'd do like the odd cabaret show, the odd wedding here and there, and then lockdown happened and I had nothing to do. So TikTok kind of happened. I seen lovely, funny videos of dogs and Lewis Capaldi, and I thought, I want to give it a try. I can't dance, I can't lip sync, but I can sing. And then I started doing traditional stuff and then my own stuff, and then it just completely took off, and now I'm sitting here. That's kind of how my brain works.
Yeah. When you say took off, for people that don't realise, we're talking amazingly taken off, hasn't it? Can you just, would you like to say, or do you want me to say how many TikTok followers you have?
1.7 million. Saying it out loud is never going to get easy. It's still so weird.
It's incredible. Now, I found you first on Instagram because being old, but I haven't got TikTok, but one day I do found...
Way that Instagram is now perceived as an old person's platform.
Well, no, I mean, as in,
Right.
I haven't got TikTok yet. I'm yet to go down the rabbit hole of TikTok. That's the problem, because I feel that once I'm in it.
Yeah, you won't get out. Don't do it.
Yeah. So I saw you through Instagram.
Natty Dredd, who joined Alex and myself a little earlier on, and Natty Dredd sort of comes from like a family name, which she's kind of adopted.
Yes, she was called after the Bob Marley song Natty Dredd. So she was like called Natalie. So she's kept that, and she said when she went onto TikTok, the original name wasn't on there, so she took that as her name, and now that's become her thing. And she's going to be playing in the Den later tonight, so which is a really we're really looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah, and I enjoyed her music. She has, along with it's not so much dreadlocks, but she has very much the traditional Scottish-looking hair, doesn't she? To go along with the name.
I saw recently she was asking people if they could help design a logo for her and do some merch for her, and a lot of them it was like Highland cattle with very red hair running down, which seems to be a very good theme for her.
It's exactly what you're going to do. Now, yesterday we saw one of the artists we had with this sort of electric guitar, and very softly played style, similar style from our next guest, who is Rachel Croft. Tell us a little bit about yourself, I think for London area.
I'm from London now, but only for 6 months. Before that, I lived in York for about 10 years, actually. But the move to London has been really exciting.
What took you down to London, work or music or both?
Well, it was time to spread my wings a little. It did coincide along with other fortuitous things, but really it was... I really loved living in York, but it was the sort of place where, after a while, I felt myself maybe stagnating a little, as much as I loved everybody and everything there, and it was really difficult to go.
Is that a performance issue, the venues to play in, or a creative thing?
Maybe a creative thing, and I think when you spend too much time in one place, it can make you feel a little stale.
Do you think that was just made you a little bit too comfortable and you felt like it was time for a challenge?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you've been to York, but it's very nice.
Yes,
it's very...
It's quite like Cambridge, to be fair.
Yeah, actually,
City of Cambridge.
But with a better railway service.
Yeah, that's true.
I feel like, I don't know, Cambridge has some really gorgeous buildings. I think you're
we have
a bit
some
jealous of those,
we have some very nice buildings.
Really lovely. But you could very happily live in York for the rest of your life, completely happily. But I think I was a bit worried, is this going to be it? And I thought, why not take the opportunity when it came to me?
So is it a matter then of starting again now, in terms of building up a collection of places which will have you regularly, and then reaching out to others?
So yeah, I think I've been taking advantage of being a bit, because I'm quite extroverted, so I'm off going, meeting people, trying to go into live music venues and things, and also draw on friends that I've already got, and if they're down at a show, I'm like, I'll come down, and then you'll see what might be happening, with
that
them.
seems to be how music works, though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, people
get out there.
Rachel Croft, who made the journey from York down to London and back up again, I guess, to join us at the Cambridge Folk Festival 2022. I did like the glasses as well,
yes,
I have to say.
I thought they were very cool. We both thought they were very cool. And then she said someone had told her she looked like Elton John. So she then was a bit worried. But I think Elton John's pretty cool now as well.
Well, I guess so. And also, the glasses, they have that kind of... I was thinking more of... It's not quite John Lennon glasses, but that from that early 70s period, I think.
Yes. I've got a lovely pair of mirrored sunglasses, which I wear only for festivals, which are the same sort of idea, really.
Bring them with you tomorrow, perhaps.
So earlier today we saw The Breath. Now they're playing on stage 2 a little bit later, and we had a really good chat with them. Good afternoon to you both.
Hiya.
Now it's Rena. Rihanna. See, look, I nearly got it, didn't I? I got a good try at it, didn't I?
See, I always love an attempt. I always appreciate it.
Thank you. I'd like to, I did want to try and get it right. And then Stuart.
Correct.
That's much easier for me. But I feel that it's just because we're not used to...
it's in a different language. It makes sense that it's going to be tricky, but, whatever you call me, I've been called worse.
Brilliant.
My wife has an Irish name, has Irish parents, and it's great because she can both my wife and a Wi-Fi password in one.
Yeah, that's it. And it does wonders for your self-confidence as a child when you can correct adults all the time.
Yeah, and
it gave me a great sense of being a pain in the backside. Yeah,
very good.
That's great.
Now I feel we should probably talk about your music. You're here playing on stage 2. At 8 o'clock today.
8 o'clock.
Have you been here before?
I have indeed.
Excellent.
Have indeed. I've been here with a band called Honey Feet.
Oh, yes.
And I've been here with a band called the Afro-Celt Sound System. So I'll be playing with them tomorrow as well.
Oh, perfect. I didn't even realise that. That's great. Now, you're the two of you today, though. How long have you two been together?
Stuart, it feels like about 20 years. It might
at least 35 years, I'd say. Yeah. No, it seems I can't even remember. About 10 years, about something 10. Like that.
And as a duo, and although have you both doing separate projects as well?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. We're busy people.
Yeah. Oh, that's good to hear.
We don't waste time.
I love the voice.
Yes,
I have to say. Although she was suffering a bit, I think, with a bit of
she
sore
was saying
throat.
she's had a bit of a cold. Nothing dangerous, but she said she's on the way out. But she was very good to come and do it because preserve your voice for the actual performance, but she wasn't worried about that, was she? She really
and
enjoyed
they're part
it.
of Afro-Celt sound system as
Yeah.
well. Again, and we've had so many examples, and it happens in a lot of genres, but I think folk in particular, you have artists who work with other artists, and sometimes it's a solo project, and sometimes doing something as a group, sometimes with very, very different musical styles as well.
Absolutely, and I think it really works because they bring their different capabilities really to the sound, and it makes a lovely mix together, really.
Got a couple more artists to go, and then we're going to finish off with some music from Kelly and Wooly. And first we're going to hear from Loris and the Lion, and they were the winners of the Apply to Play competition.
Music is absolutely fantastic. Do you do all the writing yourselves?
Yes, yeah. So I mainly write the songs because I just love lyrics. It's lyrics all the way for me, and Rich just.
Yeah, I run a little recording studio up in Liverpool, so I do the arrangements and then record it, and so it works quite a good little team. So George will bring the songs and I'll bring everything
it's
else.
like I bring the ingredients and Rich makes into a delicious soup.
And having a recording studio as well at your fingertips. Most musicians would, lose a right arm for that.
I
That's
know.
brilliant.
Yeah, I have to
it's
remind
really good.
myself that I'm very lucky because our bedroom's right next to it. When the synths are going.
You can just wake up in the middle of the night. I've got a song. Rush straight in there. Most people have to resort to pen and paper, but no. That's fabulous. You don't sound like you're from Liverpool.
No, we're not.
Not originally?
No, we call it home now. We've been there for about 9 years. We met at university there, but no, I grew up in Northamptonshire.
So we met. You said we met at university.
Yeah.
The competition as always at the moment from stage one, which is lovely most of the time, except when you're trying to have somebody to chat and play for you here, but it's not quite so good at that. Loris and the Lion. Fantastic hair. Did you notice that, by the way?
Absolutely. I have definite hair envy there. Yes, I've always dreamed of having lovely, long, curly hair like that. So, yes, definitely on my list. And beautiful instrument. Was that the harmonium, perhaps? Or was it melodian? Melodian.
It's very dangerous,
I never know which
find.
difference between a harmonium and a melodian because they look similar to me.
No, I find it's a lot more useful, really, if you actually ask the musician to say what it is, because if I have a go, there's a reasonable chance
I'm not going to be the right one.
Going to get it wrong.
Yeah.
Right, our final artist interview today is a Brighton band, and they are Bird in the Belly. Also, I think, written a series of songs about the four horsemen of the apocalypse, which sounds successfully depressive for folk music, and one might assume they get one each, do they?
Each horseman gets a song each. Yeah,
right.
We had an album out recently called After the City, which was based on a Victorian nature writer called Richard Jefferies, and he loved nature and wanted all humans to die. So he wrote about the end of the world. So we thought that would make a cheery album. So yeah, and we kind of wrote the four horsemen into that and gave them a chorus each.
That sounds so.
We started writing it before coronavirus, so we do apologise if we accidentally caused it.
Yes, that's a dangerous business.
And Ben, you're an alternative folk writer and folk artist. Is that right?
Yeah, I did. So I did stuff before on my own, and then as did Adam and Laura were a duo. I was a solo artist, and we were booked for the same event at Cecil Sharp House. And then we realised we spoke to each other, and realised we lived about one street away from each other. So we thought we should probably do something.
That's really nice.
Yeah, it was good.
So you're kind of a super group. You're an amalgamation of other artists that have got
like
together.
that.
Yeah, well,
That's good. We'll go with that.
Good.
Yeah, add that to your website.
Not that we were failing previously in the previous.
No.
They had 2 fans and I had 2 fans, and I've got 4 fans.
So you rubbed your fans together.
What is the Bird in the Belly, wrapping up our interviews. But hang on there, we're going to have some music for you in just a few moments' time. great selection of artists
Absolutely.
we've heard from today.
Loved it today, and looking forward again to tomorrow as well.
Another 2 days to come. Hope you can join us on Cambridge 105 Radio from 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. We've got another of these video casts for you as well tomorrow evening, or indeed you can catch up with earlier episodes as well on YouTube. We, though, are going to leave you with some music from Kelly and Wooly, but we'll be continuing throughout the weekend with more broadcasts on Cambridge 105 Radio. You can find us, by the way, if you haven't come across the station before, on FM, on digital. You can yell at your smart speaker to play us, and of course the free Radio Player app as well. But let's finish with Kelly and Wooly.
I wrote about the roads and byways of southeast Leicestershire, where I grew up. And I'd been to a friend's funeral about 30 years after moving away from Leicestershire. And I went for a walk back down lanes I hadn't walked down since I was a kid, and it was a pretty heavy day, so it had quite a big effect on me, and I wrote this song more or less within a week, really, and it's called These Country Lanes.
And there's a reference to Cromwell in the chorus.
There is. It's very close to Naseby.
Yeah, and local yarns have it that Cromwell went down that way.
Yeah. Spring will bring the flowers, the hazel bushes too, the smell of summer in the air and the morning dew. The grass is somehow greener and the birds are on the wing, and they're full of hope and colour, of all a song to sing. Summer brings the best out on these old byways. The solstice gives the night time much longer days. I walk the lines till sunset, read into the night, and the barn owl is out there, quartering the sky. These country lanes have seen some years and many hopes and fears, from town and hamlet, village, farm, and a coaching in for beer. I walk these lanes through seasons and I love them more and more, and they say that Cromwell walked this way in the Civil War. Autumn comes too quickly, the nights are drawing in, the shadows on the lanes are casting long and thin. The colours have turned to golden and the swallows have all gone. Winter's round the corner and everywhere's forlorn. And in the winter the leaves have fallen, but the ivy stays so green. The lowland shows its berries when foraging is lean. The willows gently swaying and their trunks so gnarled and bent. The easy summer hedgerow is bare and brown and spent. These country lanes have seen some years and many hopes and fears, from town and hamlet, village, farm, and a coaching in for beer. I walk these lanes through seasons and I love them more and more, and they say that Cromwell walked this way in the Civil War. 50 years or more now since first I walked these lanes. The verges and the ditches are still waiting for the rain. And I am grey and fragile and a stroll is all I do. But I'll never forget these old lanes, green and brown and blue. These country lanes have seen some years and many hopes and fears. From town and hamlet, village, farm and a coaching in for beer. I walk these lanes through seasons and I love them more and more. And they say that Cromwell walked this way in the Civil War.
That's wonderful.